whatever and boxes, and they have no food, they have no means of survival. Mexico's kind of coming in, bringing them water, bringing them a little bit of this and that, and then the cartel goes, look at all these vulnerable people. I wonder if I can go sell them some shrugs. I wonder if I can go kidnap one of them.
So it's our fault they decided to camp out there?
Yes, when we changed the law, all of a sudden, all these people who trekked hundreds of
We
miles
told them to
were told,
park their
wait.
asses right there. They
Yes.
couldn't have moved.
Yes, instead of
sure.
taking them in.
Couldn't have moved.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's a horrible idea.
Not our job to take the entire third world in.
Well, it actually, we agreed to do this. We're part of like a huge alliance with a bunch of countries that we do agree to do this. Yes. We did this after the 19.
The abuse of the asylum program. When our asylum program has been abused for years, when 10.5 million people are able to come across in a 4-year span, that's when you know you have to shut things down and get a full accounting of everything in this country. You to stop. You've
been lied to. So the 10.5 million number, it's a lie. I'm going to teach you today why that's a lie, why you were taken advantage of, and you should honestly be pissed off about it. So
again, like I said, I'm not a full Trump supporter. I don't feel taken advantage of because I didn't even vote for anyone in 2024.
I get it.
I spoke out against Donald Trump because he's not strict enough on immigration.
Yeah, I know, but immigration is a dumb hill to die on. It's not even a negative thing in our country. But
yes, they're a net debt to society. Actually, I was on Jubilee multiple times, and they fact checked me on this, and I was correct on it as well. They cost more in social services than they will ever pay in taxes.
So that's a statistic that comes from FAIRS, which is pretty much a far right hate group. They're just an anti-immigration.
Straight Arrow News, go check it. Arrow News. Straight Arrow News, bipartisan.
Straight Arrow News is literally just a hub for other news sources.
Yeah, and bipartisan fact checking. I've been fact checked by that literal fact on there.
Yeah, they probably found that on FAIR, and FAIR is also cited in the House committee, the House Budget Committee. That's probably why it passed a fact check.
So what is your claim?
I have claims of the Cato Institute doing a breakdown of their methodology of that calculation, and a lot of it's very troubling, and they exaggerate a lot of things to come up with that number. While they pay $97 billion in federal taxes, there's no way you can articulate how they're a burden on our social systems more than the average citizen, and contribute less and take more. There's no way you can actually articulate that. All the undocumented migrants that are here,
putting them up in 5-star hotels in New York City.
Those are asylum seekers. Those are all legally here.
Yeah, they abuse the asylum laws.
But those are legally here. That's part of our legal process. So you have to break that out.
Again, abusing the laws is not okay.
Okay, but those people are following the legal process.
And also, that hotel was closed down years ago, and it was repurposed, and that came out of like the money that was allocated by
one specific hotel, but there were multiple hotels across multiple cities.
And that money
not
is
all those
allocated by the
were
state of
repurposed. Yeah,
so that money is allocated by the state of New York. That money comes out of.
I live in Southwest Florida, where people still have not got their claims filled from FEMA 3 years ago.
York.
Okay, and yes, you live in a city where FEMA is pouring money into illegal immigration, but they can't fix people's homes in the city I live in.
Dog, your guy's about Trump is about to completely
not a
gut
lie.
FEMA.
They still haven't even filled claims from Katrina. FEMA is such a corrupt organization.
Oh, good God. So we should just do away with it, right?
We need a better system. We need a less corruption in our government.
But Trump's about to gut it, so don't you worry. You're about to get less.
I'm not a full Trump
Republicans
supporter.
are going to allow Trump to do this. How about that?
I'm not a full Republican. I'm an American First patriot.
You're dodging all of the heat. No one's America First that votes for conservatives. You guys cut all sorts of social safety nets.
I said I did not vote.
All right, you're gonna have to take this criticism because the left is the only side that's helping Americans. The left is the only side who's helping poor people.
The left sucks. The right sucks. There's a middle ground for everything.
You're impossible. You're impossible.
One side.
Here's your menu of people. Here's your menu. Okay, you've got the left. Emery, thank you for the $2. Yeah, and if things that are technically legal, just like Trump's tax evasion. Yeah, you guys hate things when it doesn't work in your favor. So
I
the
don't
left,
think the tax evasion is good. I don't think that the money laundering's okay, and I don't think that the illegal trading's okay. I think there's a lot of corrupt things that happen in our government.
Expands safety nets. We give people SNAP. We give people welfare. We give veterans health care. We give all of these social services to people. You guys remove these things. The right guts them. They have removed people off of SNAP. Every year Trump was in office, Republicans helped Trump. I'm sorry, you think that all people receiving these benefits just don't work?
I think a lot of people are abusing it. I think we've created a system that allows people to abuse it.
Okay,
And it's kind of one of the
there will
that guy was
always
trying to make
there will
before me
always be
was, and he
people
just didn't
abusing
want
the
to make it.
system, but vehemently more people get to
Yes, and we need
benefit
to
from
limit
it.
it as much as possible. Thank you for agreeing that there are people
Okay,
abusing
no
it.
matter
We
how
should
much.
agree that we should now limit that abuse.
What's the percent of abuse?
There's no number.
Okay, so
You
no
can't
matter
ask
what,
anybody.
you're just going to be propagandized to be told that this is good because some people abuse it? You're not measuring
It's not propagandized. We know people abuse it. There are people who abuse the
of course
systems
people
every
abuse
single
it,
day.
but you don't know how. You're not
Yes, and we
tracking.
need to limit the abuse. The fact that Democrats are against limiting abuse is absurd. I'm
No
not
one's
saying we
against
should
limiting
cut
abuse.
everyone off social systems. I'm for limiting abuse. I'm not for every Republican policy. I am for, like I said, putting Americans first and the American taxpayer dollar first. I'm pissed that my American taxpayer dollar, the taxes I send to my government in my state every year, are poorly spent. Actually, not my state. Florida spends my dollars great.
Okay, yeah, okay. Again, this is impossible. This is impossible. So what I'm asking you is when the right says, hey, some of these people abuse it, in your head, you have no idea how many that is. You don't know what percentage that is. And no matter what, no matter how stringent we are, it could be 2 people in the future. It could be 2 whole people in this whole country. You would still be like, oh my God, too much. We need to gut this.
No, I wouldn't.
Programs.
I wouldn't. I would actually say that's fine. Like I said, I didn't say stop overall. I said limit the abuse. You'll never be able to stop abuse. I said limit. You can pick and choose and try and like twist my words, but no, I said we need to limit abuse.
What I'm pointing out is you don't know how much abuse there is. And again, far more
no
people...
one knows. That's baked into the cake. They make it impossible. It's the same
far more
reason
people will lose their benefits that deserve them when you guys limit abuse.
I actually think that's false.
Okay, but it's true. It's true. My mother was a single mother of 3 people. She worked. She received SNAP. If it were today and age, if Trump's big beautiful bill would have passed, she would not have those benefits. There's an example.
Why specifically?
Because of our age. Because we were older than 7.
So you're saying that you would lose all benefits to SNAP?
We would have lost a bunch. Yes.
And there's no work clause in that? Because I've read the bill. There is a work clause in it.
Okay. And what is it?
That if they're working...
Yeah, she was working. Yeah.
I don't know the exact amount of hours. I don't know the bill word for word. But yeah, that there were still ways for them to get the SNAP.
So you guys are pulling money.
Speaking...
Again, this is 1.6% of your tax dollars, and this is what you guys are scrutinizing. 1.6.
It's one part of what we're scrutinizing. We're also scrutinizing illegal immigration. And what I mainly scrutinize, we haven't talked about it here, is the war. I think war is an economy on its own, and I'm completely against the fact that our ally pretty much swept us under the rug. Our ally went right under our nose and bombed Iran.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this never would have happened if Kamala was in office.
It would have happened either way. It had nothing to do with the president. It had to do with the fact that Israel wanted this to happen, and AIPAC funded this to happen in our government. That was literally exposed yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Funding in our government influences most of the wars we get into overseas.
Yeah, at least it sounds like there's like blatant, very like alarming holes in your ideology and like alarmingly bad things that come out of the Republican policy, and no matter what, they're still your choice.
Pointing anything out, it makes no sense.
Like I think there's like I literally can't list one thing that's good from the Republican Party or voting for conservatives at all. But you're like American First stuff. The right
America First is putting American taxpayer dollars towards America. It stopped funding wars around the world. It stopped letting the entire third world pour into our nation unchecked, unvetted. Stop allowing people to abuse all our social systems and stop allowing our government to abuse our tax dollars.
Okay, so here you go. Let me help you out.
Most Americans should agree.
Okay, here's what the left did that I would consider America First, and here's what the right did. The left infrastructure bill, $1.2 trillion. The Chips and Science bill created thousands of jobs in manufacturing here in the United States. The Inflation Reduction Act.
Look at that happen.
Excuse me. All of these things were money invested into the domestically here for America First. And then Trump has nothing. He did tax cuts for the rich. He praised that hopefully they don't do stock buybacks.
Trump has brought in trillions of dollars in investments for U.S. manufacturing over the next 5 to 10 years. And you know that's true because you do this for a job just the same as I do. And you could try and twist it, but you know NVIDIA's invested billions. You know
even more people have lost their jobs.
Name the companies, but there's a list of over 56 companies who have invested trillions of dollars over the next 10 years into the United States.
Yeah, and a lot of these companies also had these commitments prior.
And again, I don't speak out against what Biden did with the. When I see something good, when I see American jobs happening in America, I am for it. I think Biden was a terrible president because I don't think he was the actual president, and we all know that he has cancer now, so we can't make fun of him. But the Hur tapes came out. We all know he had no clue what was going on.
Nobody on our side believes that. No, that it's not true.
Did you listen to the Hur tapes? What was your opinion on the Hur tapes?
I didn't actually listen to the Hur tapes, but I know what you're talking about.
Of course you don't listen to if it was Trump's tapes, you would have listened to it the second it came out. But no, you don't want to listen to Biden's Hur tapes where it proves everything that conservatives have been saying for years.
Biden did a fantastic job, and whoever was in control,
it wasn't him. Maybe Obama or senior White House officials.
Whoever was doing it, I want them back. Whoever it was, I want him back.
You want Obama for a third term? That would be terrible.
Okay. Have you heard Trump's speeches before?
Yeah, Trump actually
imagine Obama for a third term. Trump would, even if they ran against each other, Trump would, by a landslide, he would lose. He would be somewhere crying.
Trump and Obama ever ran against each other for president, this country would have fallen because it would be two people running for a third term. And the liberals who took Trump's third term joke and the hats he made millions on selling.
It's not a joke.
How was that a joke?
Trump 2028 is Donald Trump Jr. You guys
listen, America, listen, Steve Bannon is on tape right now, literally saying we are looking for.
Steve Bannon Trump? Is Steve Bannon the president? Is Steve Bannon?
He's his advisor. He says we are looking at a way to do this.
Yes, again, it's trolling. He's trying to piss you guys off. They've been doing it since 2015.
That's a reach. It's a reach. You guys are just un-American.
They literally, okay, the same way you found that Bannon clip, search up Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says, it is a joke. Donald Trump will not run in 2028 definitively.
Caroline Leavitt, I'm sure she says whatever it takes to get their approval rate. Yeah, to get approval ratings up, I'm sure.
No, because you guys freaked out after he started selling the Trump 2028
Oh, God forbid we condemn anti-constitutional stuff.
Yeah, no one would support, like the slim minority of MAGA supporters who would support Trump running for a third term. Like, I know that exists. There are people who are like, hell yeah, Trump third term.
America,
and those people are morons.
It's not a slim majority. They're in my chat all day.
Slim minority. Slim
minority or not, whatever you have to say to sleep at night, they're here everywhere.
The reason liberals lose so often is because of the way you categorize Republicans. You make it impossible to have productive conversations when you categorize all Republicans in together like that. Because that's not how it is. The same way I'm not categorizing all liberals together. I don't think you're as corrupt as Joe Biden.
I'm not saying that either. And literally, your side is known for being racist and being unable to do critical thinking and pattern recognition.
You guys literally are the ones who pushed for slavery.
Okay, so
the Democratic Party is literally the ones who pushed for slavery.
I get that. Conservative.
And the Democratic Party is currently the one who is pushing for slave labor with illegal immigration.
You got to calm down. Conservative Christians did that, right?
The Democrats were the ones pushing for it.
Were the Democrats conservative Christians?
The Democrats were the main party pushing for slavery.
Were they the conservative Christian party back then?
I mean, again, I don't know specifically.
Yeah, okay. So before you open your fucking mouth about
that has nothing to do with it.
That's all you. It's all you. Remember,
it absolutely has everything to do with it. And a party switch.
Yeah, the party switch too. You guys don't acknowledge the party switch. It's very sad. I don't know. It's big cope.
Again, that has nothing to do with it. It's
yes,
still
it does.
The same party.
Because of the name?
Yes, it was the Democratic
The ideology is what led to that. Do you think that the Progressive Party, were the people wanting the change and for slaves to be free? Or would you think it was the Conservative Party who always want things to stay the same, who defended slavery with the Bible? Who do you think was fighting for that?
I think it was the Republican Party in the North who pushed for that.
Huh. And who's the Party of the North now?
Again, there's no Party of the North now.
Okay,
there's no slavery in the United States.
Big cope. Who's the Party of the South now? Who's the South?
There's no party of the South now either. Again, there's no slaves.
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. The Dixiecrats flew a certain flag.
Again,
Where do you see those flags?
This is the problem with like arguing in your style is you're categorizing Republicans and Democrats.
Dude,
in this way
you are
so
the one
false.
calling us the party of slavery, and I have to correct you.
Democrats literally were the party of slavery. That is a literal fact.
Okay, but that is a cheap cop-out because that was literally the conservative party using your ideas, using your logic and line of thinking and your school of thought. That's what came out of it.
Arguments to the modern conservative party is just untrue in so many ways.
Jessica, thank you for the $20. It's $40 to kick. Jessica wanted to kick you, and it's
got some money.
I'm going to show you what parties do you think?
Make them send you some more. Let's make you some money tonight.
Sure.
Run the bidding war up.
So which party do you think flies the Dixiecrat flag now?
Again, like debating the
I'm going to help you out.
Civil War, how is it relevant to
I'm going to help you out.
Again, I'm not arguing the Confederate flag or not. I'm arguing how does debating the Civil War, like, I get the...
I don't think he understands how those all tie together, Pickles. Like, it's completely going over his head.
You guys are so terrible to argue with because you guys just talk in circles. It's liberal delusion.
All right, Jessica, thank you for the $20. Thank you for the 40 to kick. Guys, you brought it up, and it's so sad. If you do politics for a living, it's your first time learning about this. Maybe take a little break, do some more reading. Maybe watch my channel if you want. Watch somebody you enjoy watching, so you can learn a little bit about this. This is y'all. For you to blame us for y'all's shit, I'm gonna call you out all day. I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. I'm gonna say, hey, look. This is y'all. You still uphold these ideologies. You guys are crying about DEI, still perpetuating racist tropes today. Sorry. Chat, if you're friendly, get out of my box. I love y'all so much. Lisa, I love you.
Pickles, you're so cool.
What's that?
I said you're so cool.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Hello? John? Hello? Hello, Chris?
What's up?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
No.
Okay. Do you want to say something real quick before I kick you?
You can kick me. It's okay.
Okay, bub. Hello. Hello?
That was uncomfortable in my ear.
He sounded like he was out of breath and putting together like a ham sandwich.
Have you been getting like good debates lately?
Yeah. I mean,
I get all of the crazies.
Nobody's particularly been a great. Actually, I had one really tough debate the other day or yesterday, but he wasn't MAGA. He was like more left of me, which it's usually people who are smarter than me are not to the right of me.
And so, Pickles, on a political scale, you classify yourself as a Democrat, right?
I'm just a hot dog, hamburger, plain Jane, social democrat. Nothing
Love that.
nothing cool.
I love that for you, Pickles. I really do. Thank you for being on the right side of history, Pickles.
Anytime. I eat hot
Oh
dogs.
my God.
Anything cylindrical, I eat the shit out of it. Hello?
Trump, yo, daddy, bitch.
What? Hello?
What's up?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, I support his policy in the Middle East. That's the main reason why I vote for him.
Yeah, he was just on my live
Oh,
debating
yeah.
with Chris about the Middle East.
I was going to keep on talking to Chris, but he never ended up going live, so.
What do you like
But
about
yeah.
Trump?
Well, what do I like? I like his foreign policy, mainly in the Middle East. I like what's currently happening, and overall, I think his policy is just better than Biden and Obama's, especially Obama's. And I could explain that and go more in depth if you want.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I think the JCPOA was probably one of the biggest foreign policy mistakes a U.S. president has ever made. Mainly for the reason it's kind of, I see it as like an idealistic vision of the Middle East. It does nothing to address Iran's regional activities. It does nothing to ensure that they can't continue to fund terrorism within the region. And basically, it's a sunset deal, right? There's sunset clauses. It expires after a period of time, right? After 10 to 15 years, they're allowed to continue developing a nuclear weapon, right? So my main issue is like for the 10 to 15 years when you're lifting sanctions, they're able to fund their terror proxies within the region. They're able to expand their regional power as well as China's and Russia's because they're allies with them. And then after 10 to 15 years, when they've amassed all that power, then they're able to get a nuke, right? So basically the deal kind of relies on them moderating and liberalizing over those 10 to 15 years and not wanting to get one and becoming less radical. I think that is really idealistic, and it was just a gamble that was never going to work out.
So what was the downside of doing it? The fact that it just didn't do enough?
Well, one, the fact that there were sunset clauses. If there weren't sunset clauses and that it lasted significantly longer, I probably would have supported it. And two, it lifted sanctions, so their economy was able to prosper. Their GDP was boosted immediately after exiting.
That was the deal.
After entering the deal. Yeah, the deal lifted the sanctions.
Yeah.
So it allowed them to get more money, allowed their economy.
It was an incentive to be able to trade and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, that was their incentive in making the deal, to get the sanctions lifted so they could be more successful economically, which would then give them more money and therefore more influence within the region by funding their terror proxies like Syria, Hezbollah.
But like, imagine, so breaking that deal would have been the same as pretty much fucking up your economy, seeing your economy prosper, and then going, oh dang, we could either fund T group attacks or we can be part of the rest of the world and trade. And
yeah, I don't think they would have
peace.
broke the deal. If they had stayed within the deal, they wouldn't have broken the deal. They would have let it expire. And after having amassed a significant amount of regional power and being prepared, I'm sure they would have been prepared for it to happen. Then they would have created a nuke, having a significant amount of power within the region, right? Like the reason that they've lost so much power recently with Syria falling, Hamas being significantly weakened, Hezbollah being weakened, is because Trump left the deal. That wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in the deal.
I don't agree with that because there's other countries that fund Hamas and Hezbollah, such as the one that gave Trump a plane.
The main funder would be Iran. Qatar does fund them, I agree, but Iran is their primary funder.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that first of all, we don't even have. I heard Chris telling you this earlier. Like, for instance, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't believe that they have enough enriched uranium to have any sort of weapons, and neither does Congress. So Trump pushing for this just to be behind Netanyahu is just evidence of him being a shill.
Well, that's fine that Tulsi Gabbard wants to think that. I disagree with her, but I think you would probably give more credit to like the International Atomic Energy Agency than Tulsi Gabbard, right? Because what the International Atomic Energy Agency has found is that they're 2 to 3 weeks away, and that they're currently enriching in February. They found that they're enriching uranium at 60%. It takes like 2 to 3 weeks to get up to 90%, and you need 90% to get a bomb.
Well, they actually historically have been hearing this for years, that they've been 2 or 3 weeks away.
Yeah, and I understand that rhetoric, and I think the reason I understand that people on the left have been saying that a lot, and even people on the right too. It's kind of horseshoe theory. But the reason why they were never able to achieve it is, one, the nuclear deal slowed them down temporarily. Despite my disagreement with it, I'll concede that it slowed them down. But two, Israel and the West have actually been doing operations to prevent them from doing it. There was, for instance, in 2012, there was a cybersecurity attack that like slowed down their operations. In 2021, they did an attack that I think it damaged some of the centrifuges. And then third, the final reason would be Iran knows that the second they actually develop the bomb, it will be war. So they have to do it at the perfect timing, right? So there's a reason they've been on the edge for 15 years, and that's because they can't just do it whenever they want. They have to be very careful about when they do it, because they know when they'll do it, it'll equal a guaranteed war with the US and with Israel.
The only thing I'm finding right now, enrichment plants, they were not 2 or 3 weeks away. I think they were a week away from opening another plant.
No, that was separate. That was something they threatened to do after the 60 days. They said they were going to, after they were censored by the IEA. But the the IAEA found.
Can you show me where they show that? Because I have another report in 2023, but that's it.
It was literally like a week ago, like right before this all happened. They released a report. I'll pull it up right now. Give me a sec. One sec. I will get that source here. I'm reading it right now.
So they had 60%, and it had been destroyed. That was a week ago.
It hadn't been destroyed. No.
At Natanz, the above-ground part of pilot fuel enrichment plant where Iran was producing uranium, enriched up to 60%, U-235, has been destroyed.
Oh, you mean
this is from the IAEA?
Yeah, it's been destroyed. Yeah, but that was because of the attacks. I'm talking prior, the report that they put out.
Yeah.
Give me a sec. I'm skimming through the article from Reuters right now to get you a source. One sec. Reuters. I assume you would trust that source.
I love Reuters, yeah.
Yeah, me too. One sec. I'm reading through it. So the text, the Board of Governors finds that Iran's many failures to uphold its obligations since 2019 to provide the agency with full and timely cooperation regarding undeclared nuclear material and activities at multiple undeclared locations in Iran constitutes non-compliance with its obligations under its safeguards agreement with the agency.
That's not saying what you said, right? 2 to 3 weeks away?
Yeah, it's not. I remember it being in the report. Just give me a sec. I'm just gonna, one sec. But that's, like, I've been hearing that from, like, multiple different sources on the left and the right, so I'm confused why you would, like, yeah. One sec. I'm trying to ask ChatGPT to see where the source came from, and then I'll get to give me the source.
Chat, tap the screen. We're almost at 100K. If you enjoy debates, give me a follow.
Follow my cucumber.
But you can fact check me right now that they're at 60%. Right. So what you need to get to, I think where the confusion was, sorry, I misinterpreted this in my head. But they're at February was found they're in 60%. You can fact check me on that right now. Right. They were at 20% under Trump in like 2020. Takes a while to get from 20% to 60%, but it's a significantly smaller jump to get from 60% to 90%. That would take a few weeks to like a couple months. They need 90% to build the bomb. And that was in February, where they're at 60%.
Says something about centrifuge enrichment. It's not necessarily a matter of time, but a very technical process. It's not a time-based process.
Well, yeah, it's a time-based process, but they've been at 60% since 2021, right? That's like 4 years for them. That's enough time to build a nuke. So they're ready to build it. They're just holding off. And they're probably speeding towards one right now, which is why we really need to destroy Fordo.
So enrichment plans just use centrifuges, which is like that spinning thing. The heavier uranium particles tend to move towards the center of the outer edge, allowing separation of the lighter, more enriched uranium, 235. Technical step to go from 60 to time depends on specific equipment facility. Okay, so we'd have to prove that they had a facility that was doing this, and
prove that they had a facility. Yeah, they had. There's Natanz and there's Fordo, and there was
like this particular process, not just that housed uranium.
Yeah, and what I've seen from the left and the right too, I find it kind of funny. You guys like assume that like a country that hates us, you assume that their intentions are pure.
I don't assume that at all.
Well, then why are you saying they're not building a nuke? Like what? Let me just make it clear. There is literally no civilian purpose to go up to 60%. Like the maximum we need to go up to is like
we allow a ton of countries to go to nuclear power, and yes, they hate us. Yada 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 yada. The thing is, we did have something in place that wasn't perfect, and for Trump to fuck that all the way up, and I don't know. Again, like I would rather have them doing like some isolated terrorist incidents than to have a full-blown nuclear weapon, which is what you said was the trade-off.
You think October 7th was like, I mean, technically it was isolated, but like unalived 1,200 people. Like that was pretty significant.
Horrible, but I mean, that's nothing close to what a nuke would do, right?
Yeah, but you're just kicking the can down the road, right, with the deal, because it expires after 10 to 15 years. So you're kicking the can down the road. And during that time, they're able to fund their proxies. They're able to amass influence within the region. So it's just going to make the problem even worse. You're just delaying it by 5 years.
So even with Trump's, what's it called? With his sanctions in place, they were still funding Hamas and Hezbollah?
But yeah, but to less of an extent, and they were deterred significantly. That's why enrichment under Trump was at 20%. Biden comes into office, goes up to 60%.
Yeah, okay. Right? 20% after they had been underneath the Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah, after Trump pulled out.
Don't attribute that 20% to Trump.
No, I do.
Why would you say that?
But I think that
because they had the means, like even being poor, they could just focus their efforts on that and just that.
Well, no, they had obviously focused more domestically and on ensuring the success of their own economy compared to ensuring the success of their proxies.
I mean, they have partners that are bankrolling them that are like Qatar, extremely rich.
Yeah, but to less of an you think Qatar is bankrolling Iran?
They're bankrolling
Qatar bankrolls H group and their proxies, but what I'm saying is that Iran was unable to bankroll, or to less of an extent, they could bankroll H group. And actually, Biden stopped the enforcement of some of the sanctions on Iran. So that just worsened the
because
problem,
it was hurting civilians. It was like medicine and shit.
No, it was oil.
It was also medicine.
Okay, well, I'm unaware of the medicine, but I mean, what he wanted to do when he first came in, he wanted to re-enter the deal, right? And the result of that was he tried to lift sanctions. That deal never ended up materializing, but lifting the sanctions kind of allowed their economy to do a bit better in the short term, right? So there was a lot of deterrence under Trump. For example, unaliving Soleimani, for example, all the sanctions and the maximum pressure campaign. A lot of that deterrence, like despite the fact that we didn't re-enter the deal, a lot of the deterrence decreased under Biden. Like, for example, within the region, probably the largest counterbalance to Iran, other than Israel, would be Saudi Arabia. When Biden came into office, he kind of distanced himself from Saudi Arabia. That emboldens Iran because they know that Saudi Arabia, the biggest regional counterbalance to them, no longer has the support of the U.S. And then in addition, Biden, for whatever reason, I don't know why he did this, but he delisted the Houthis as a terrorist organization. That was a stupid decision, right? So there was a lot that happened under Biden that kind of undermined the success of the maximum pressure campaign under Trump. And that contributed to causing what we saw, like October 7th.
Oh, because it was a large review of the U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia, which waged a 6-year campaign against the Houthis.
Yeah, there was a war between the Houthis and Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
More policy shifts yet in the Biden administration. Reports the prospects of okay, so there's diplomacy. New U.S. envoy.
They ended up, like, after a couple of years, they ended up trying to get Saudi Arabia to enter the Abraham Accords, which I supported. But for a couple of years before 2023, which is when they tried to get Saudi Arabia to enter the Abraham Accords and they softened up towards them, they were very anti-Saudi. So that was pretty detrimental to Israel and the West's position in the region, and it kind of gave Iran some leeway from the deterrence that was established under Trump by leaving the JCPOA.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't buy it. Like, I respect your opinion. I don't buy the fact that it was a bad idea. For you to condemn it so hard, I think is a little bit of denial mixed in there. Like, I obviously think that they wouldn't even be this far at all if they had been kicking the can down the road this long. It would have given us more opportunity to devise a plan to say, hey, if you want to fit in with the rest of us, we can't have you doing the enriched uranium. If you want to continue to trade, you see how beneficial it is to trade with us and be like. The sanctions themselves probably caused more animosity in the Middle East.
That sure, I can understand that. I can understand that point of view, saying like putting the economic pressure on them, and that would work if they were some isolated country. But regardless of the West, they have heavy ties with Pakistan, China, Russia, North Korea, right? So even if and that's how they were able to survive after we put sanctions on them by oil exports to China. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be really nice. Like what if we cut half of our? Like we've seen what happens ourselves if we try to cut off trade with like China.
Oh yeah, well that's definitely something we have to do over the long term, but that's a whole different discussion. We definitely need to cut off trade with China.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me ask hypothetical here. If China invades Taiwan, do you want us to be like reliant on their goods while China is like invading a close ally of ours?
No, but again, that works both ways, right? So if China is reliant on a certain amount of trade with us, they wouldn't do that. So they rely on a positive relationship with the United States.
You're right. They rely on that, but I think that they would be able to weather the storm better than we would in terms of economic turmoil coming from that, right?
Sure, but the way that we're going about this, the way like the tariff thing, I could argue that all day. There's literally no defensible stance for how Trump is using these tariffs. And I'll
defend tariffs on China. I won't defend tariffs on anyone else, though. But I'll defend the tariffs on China.
Okay, still, so like the tariffs on China, it's nothing but a tax on U.S. citizens. That's it. It doesn't actually bring any sort of innovation
here. It'll have consequences, but like you need to understand the long game with China. And the reality of geopolitics is that it's going to have effects on the domestic economy. And that's something that I'm willing to accept because I think China poses a long-term threat to all of us.
They
want to be the regional hegemon.
I don't deny that we're in a race and they are going to they're on a trajectory to surpass us in GDP and industrialization. But the tariffs aren't doing anything but slowing us down. So like instead of being on solid ground now, we're treading through mud. And the tariffs have done nothing but put up a giant wall for us to stop innovating. And besides the fact these are just like it's behind an executive order. It's not even a real law. Nobody wants, huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
Nobody wants to invest billions and billions of dollars with the uncertainty of these tariffs going away.
I agree. I mean, I agree that it's going to have effects on the economy. I think we're in for some maybe stagnation. If we can get the trade deals signed with the other countries and the China thing is temporary. I mean, I would have preferred if he came in with a strategy saying, we're going to like invest in manufacturing here and we're going to do this gradually, but we need to divest from China. And he was rhetorically more clear about it. But the reality is Taiwan, we continue the West, like Japan, the Philippines, all these and like South Korea, as well as us, the U.S., we continue to put more military apparatus and defense in Taiwan. And as we continue to do that, I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but as we continue to do that, China's time span and their window of opportunity to invade Taiwan decreases. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon.
Yeah,
and
so
we need to be prepared.
The tariffs,
that's all I'm saying.
The tariffs have done nothing but shrink our GDP and slow down the ability for us to increase our military or our economy. So like the tariffs are not helping. And like you said, if they're temporary, that's the best ideal. Then why do it at all? What we can do is we can just subsidize industries, kind of like what Biden did. He was very successful with the Chips and Science Act and Inflation Reduction Act. And no amount of tariffs will make the rest of the world stop buying from China. Therefore, our manufacturing will never be sold to the rest of the world. And it will not, the second we take that wall down, the second those tariffs fall, those companies will also fall.
Well, I support the Chips and Science Act. I think that was fantastic legislation. And I think we should do more like that. I think subsidization domestically in combination with tariffs can be really effective. And especially with like a lower tariff, which we have right now after the negotiation, just down to like, I think like 30% on China. Like that will affect the economy, but right. Okay, 55. I thought it went down to 30 recently after like the second phase of negotiations. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think that a lower tariff like that would be not good for the economy, but better than what it was originally, obviously. And I'll concede that the Liberation Day tariffs, like any tariff on anyone except for China or Russia, is dumb. I'll agree with that.
And didn't we specifically not do tariffs on Russia?
Well, we don't trade with Russia, so there isn't really any tariffs to put on them.
We trade, I think it's like $28 billion a year with them.
Well, that's pretty insignificant, but sure, we can put tariffs on that $28 billion. I'm fine with that. But I don't see the relevance. So
I mean, I don't know. I just kind of, yeah, I don't know. It confirms some of our suspicions that Trump is a little bit of a Putin simp.
I don't know if he's. I mean, I'm not even going to get into this topic because I'll probably agree with you. I've been very critical of his policy on Ukraine. I'm also critical of Biden, but yeah. But I think. What do you think about what's happening right now with Israel and the U.S.?
I'm able to completely detach from some of the reasons that Republicans are for Israel because I'm not religious at all. I look at this a little more objectively. I think a lot of it's being fought over superstition, which I think is even worse. And I think that we should be as stern as we possibly can with them. And I don't think Trump is a man who has solid morals or beliefs about anything. I think that he can be bought. I think they can be bribed. I think he can be easily manipulated. I think he's a giant pansy. I think that you can get whatever you want out of either antagonizing him or stroking his ego. I think you can get him to tweet 50 times a night if you wanted to. You can get him to, be as angry as you want, saying the right thing.
Well,
I just don't think he's like an adult mentally.
Well, first, I'm also I'm literally an atheist, so like my support for Israel and for what we're currently doing has nothing to do with religion, regardless of what some Republicans will say. And second, I can see I can see what you said about Trump being the case in certain contexts, but probably not in this one, though. I think he's been very tough on Iran, and he's been pretty consistent with his stance that they cannot have nuclear weapons, and that what's going to happen is either they're going to have to sign a deal that stops all enrichment and destroys Fordo, or we're going to drop bunker busters. And I take issue with a lot of people on the left and people on the right as well comparing this to Iraq. Like, I would need, if you want to compare that, I'm not saying you are, but if you want to compare it to Iraq, I would need you to explain to me how we're going to have boots on the ground and explain to me how there isn't a difference between like a full-scale military invasion and like dropping a couple of bunker busters on Fordo.
This could eventually turn to a thing where it comes to Israel's front door, right?
Sorry, what?
This could eventually turn to a thing where they come to Israel's front door, right?
Where Iran comes to Israel's front door?
Yeah, or their allies?
No. Neither side has the capabilities for a ground invasion. Neither Israel nor Iran. I mean, look at how Iran's doing right now. They're doing.
No, I'm talking about the either side. Like
Yeah, I don't think
like
Israel
they're
is going to do that
allies,
either. Oh, you think well,
like
who?
Iran's
China or Russia?
allies.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think China and Russia have made their position very clear. We're staying neutral and we want this to end, but we're not going to get involved because, I mean, when you look at Russia, there's no way they
We don't
can
have a
get
word from that,
involved.
right? I think
They've
I
made
actually
statements. They've
Trump
made
Trump has said
statements.
we're going to come out in 2 weeks, I think, with policy in regards to whether we're directly going to bomb them or not.
Well,
But
yeah, they're trying
that
to
will
go to
directly involve
negotiate.
us
I'm not saying us. I was talking about China and
militarily.
Russia. Yeah, we'd be involved militarily, but it wouldn't be boots in the ground. And I wouldn't support boots in the ground, but there's no way it would happen. Like, Israel's not going to put boots in the ground, neither is Iran. So if neither of those countries are, then how would the US? Like, and Trump made his, like, when he campaigned in 2016, he made his position very clear. He didn't support Bush. He didn't support Iraq, right? It's not going to happen.
He has no actual position. Yeah, I don't buy anything he says with, we have audio of him talking about in 2011 how we're going to go to war. He's condemning Obama going to war with Iran just to like win another presidency, and that he's militarily more stoic than Obama, and that it would never happen. And you know, we have him saying things such as only mobsters plead the fifth. Like he has to flip flop on literally everything that he says. He's just an idiot. Like when he yaps, like you said, or somebody else said, like he just says things without thinking. He doesn't realize that some of these things he says are going to make him like a huge hypocrite in the near future.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think the thing is, like, neither left nor right, except for like maybe like Lindsey Graham. Like, literally no one wants boots on the ground in Iran. And like what I've learned to do with Trump is watch what he does, not what he says. And like I'll agree he says stupid stuff, obviously. I don't think
I
anyone
don't
would
care. I don't care to wait around and see what he does. Like this is it's like that just means to me that you can't trust him at all.
Yeah, well,
Same with our allies. Same with our adversaries. Why would our adversaries? Why would diplomacy ever work if we can't trust what he says?
well, diplomacy was never going to work with Iran in the first place. That's
What about
why it didn't
with
work.
anyone else?
With anyone else, I mean, he signed a couple deals already. But I mean, I told you I don't support what he did with the tariffs. But I think in terms of diplomacy, I wouldn't say he's been successful, but he's had a few diplomatic successes with China and with the UK. And I'm confident that a deal will be signed soon with Canada once the Iran stuff is gone.
Yeah, but like again, this has caused like there's so much collateral damage the way he's forced people's hands to get deals done, and to think that like for instance with Mexico, Biden got a $1.5 billion from Mexico for border security. Trump is having to bully them and show them that they can't trust doing a trade deal with us after the USMCA.
Well, Trump is. I mean, I'll concede. I concede that point, and I conceded it earlier. But like, I'm not going to argue that. I think the tariffs are dumb, except for the ones on China.
I'm not saying I'm not just that the tariffs are dumb, but you are literally dumb to make a deal with Trump. You are literally just a sucker. You're not getting any sort of sweetheart deal with any sort of Trump deal.
Regardless of what Trump says, countries will want to make a deal with the U.S. no matter what, no matter who's in charge, no matter what they do.
Yeah, it's just not going to be a great deal, and it's going to ruin our relationship. It's going to ruin like they're not going to do great things with us. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do us any favors. That's for sure.
Depending on the country. I mean, Europe, they weren't really doing anything for us regardless. So
come on, they came to back Ukraine when we asked them to. Hey, do this. Are you with us? And they said yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, but in terms of NATO, up until like the past 5 years, they were pretty much reliant on our defense spending.
Not really. Right? I think that's a misconception.
Really? They are all below 2% GDP, like even domestic politics.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we had to spend more.
We're not prepared.
That doesn't mean we had to spend more, right?
Well, depending on your viewpoint of foreign policy, if you want us to keep Europe safe, if Europe's not spending, then we have to spend, right?
Not really.
It depends on if you want us to be involved in Europe.
We were going to spend anyway, and we are safer as a world and a nation when we have military bases everywhere as opposed to nowhere.
I totally agree. Yeah, I'm not like the isolationist, right? I probably disagree with those people more than I disagree with you. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of getting into common waters. I appreciate you being chill. You're welcome back anytime, dude.
Okay, cool. See you.
All right, man.
Pickles, I didn't want to bother you. That was a great debate. But I am teleporting and it's gonna cut me out. So you can drop me. And I love you and appreciate you so much.
I love you more. And you have a wonderful night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Love me some Merms, guys. Love me some Merms. Guys, I am feeling pooped. Oh god. Oh. I've heard somewhere else that the bunker buster bomb's not going to be enough because of how low below ground they are. 300 feet-ish. Very good points. Meow, thank you so much.
Meow, cat emoji, super chatted $9.99. Very good points.
You like the text to speech the text to speech voice. You freak. You freak. David, what are you yapping about with B2s? I'm looking it up right now. Hello? Tans.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
What's up, girl?
What do you use for movies? Me and my girlfriend are trying to watch a movie.
I'll DM it to you.
Okay, good. All right,
smoochies. Y'all, I want to take a little break, I think. What has been 2 minutes? 2 hours? That last conversation was just a real brain buster. J-Man says Lion King. J-Man, I love you. I just don't think you're on our level here, big guy. Jason says we should do you guys. By the way, I want y'all to note, Trump supporters, that is the kind of guest that doesn't get kicked. That is the kind of guest, that last guest, respectable, didn't get crazy, had really good points somewhat, knew his shit. Nobody's dying to kick that person, and I feel like my pay to kick feature advocates for people that to be more like that. is what I would say. Yeah. I would say if you don't want to get kicked, be chill. Be like that guy. Meredith, thank you so much for the $10. Pickles dinner fun. Eat a damn protein plus veggie. I will. He kick all the time? J-Man, you shut your stupid mouth. All right, J-Man. Hello?
Hey, I'm out the suburbs right now. I'm just going at this. I'm in the trenches right now. So you might get another J Man.
What are you talking about?
You know, for real.
How's your AI robot business going?
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, how's your robot business going?
Oh my gosh, let me actually tell you. So like actually since I've seen you guys, like I fucking got into real estate school. But like I literally just went up to my school today. Bro, like when I actually start showing y'all, bro, hey, actually I'm about to make a post, bro. I'm about to make a post and come back. I'm about to make a post on my robotics. Watch this.
You're killing me. You're killing me, dude.
Bro. Hey, how do you feel, bro? How do you feel about being a coaches, bro? That's why I have
Who's my
question.
cult leader?
Like Democratic Party. How you feel about being a cult?
It's cute, but you would have to cults have cult leaders and people that you were unable to criticize.
Bro,
you would have to show that we're unable of critical thinking. You'd have to
you're
show.
about to get off. Like you're about to get off live. Like can you actually do like a poll, like how many like red people, how many blue people, how many independent people we got? Cause like I think like you got mostly Democratic followers, bro.
Of course I do.
Huh?
Of course I do.
Man, they scaring me out here in the trenches, man. They be driving by me and stuff. I gotta get out the trenches. I can't be in Section 8 housing no more. Like this, I'm in where the Section 8 is, man. And you know, J-Man, I'm at a cookout for Juneteenth. You feel me? hey, what you do for Juneteenth, bro? Did you even do anything for Juneteenth, bro?
I'm talking to you, bro.
But you didn't even do nothing for Juneteenth. What kind of activist is you?
I have no friends. I have no life, dude. This is what I do.
Bro, so why don't you be my friend then, bro? You could have did something with me on Juneteenth. You wanna do something with me on Juneteenth?
I don't have the emotional or mental bandwidth to be your friend.
Bro, you could be an associate. You could be an associate. It's just bro, they fucking scaring me in the fucking trenches, bro. Like, why they always keep dropping like past me, looking at me, bro? All right, bro. All right. Go ahead, say what you were saying.
Nothing. J-Man, come back when you're ready, all right?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready right now. Like I really like never lost to a debating you, bro. So like I really like can like multitask at the same time. Like I literally beat this, bro. I beat this dude every time I debate this dude.
Oh, it hurts my brain. Oh.
And then
hey,
like,
J-Man.
all right, y'all. Look, I'm gonna head out, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all live, man.
Go on, get. What's up, Monopoly?
So let me get this straight. A black man gets on this and says, ask you, what have you done for Juneteenth? And you said, I've talked to you.
I said I'm talking to you.
No, exactly. You're crediting yourself for talking to a black man on Juneteenth. That is fucked up, dude.
That's a stretch, bud.
No, that is fucked. And then what'd you say? What'd you say at the very end when he was getting out of here? What was your last word?
Go on, get.
Go on, get. That's exactly what you said, man. That is fucked up. But what I wanted to tell you was, I can smell your man pussy from here, dude. I smelt that from a mile away, you skinny man titty looking bitch. You know what I'm talking about?
Do you like it? Yeah, Chris. Yeah, Kristen. Come on now. West Virginia has floods, community stuff. Oh, I don't know. Guys, don't. Yeah, your Phil outrage doesn't really work over here. Someone says, "What's an assault rifle? High caliber, high capacity, high velocity, long range poo poo, pew pew, mid to long range pew pew." Do I think that the housing market is close to crashing? I haven't even looked at it. Some areas are seeing price drops and slower sales, indicating a shifting market rather than a collapse. Inventory is rising. That's good. Suggests a potential cooling off period or correction in certain markets. I mean, keep her going, baby. Thank you, Jerome Powell. Homes are staying on the market longer. Mortgage rates are higher. Economic uncertainty is what's causing a lot of this. Very regional, says Kristen. AR stands for Armalite. Yeah, I know, but somebody specifically said, "What's an assault rifle?" What capacities? I don't know. 30. Depends on the area and price range. I work in real estate, Nicole says. 15 to 30. It's slowed a lot here in Washington, but we're way overpriced for a long time. I'm in the stock market. It's definitely cooling. No such thing as an assault rifle. Yeah. I had somebody earlier saying like, and don't even try to say that all of us Trump supporters want Trump to run a third term. Like there's a fringe like minority that want that. No, they're here all day chanting it. Charlie Kirk chants it before every one of his crowds that he starts his little debates on. Yeah. I like Charlie Kirk. Gross, bro. Gross. Great job, Pickles. This is the best political live on YouTube. Tom, you are gonna get your toes sucked saying shit like that, bud. I feel like we're old now. PUBG days are gone. So sad. I know, Hannah. I know. What are you playing these days? Guys, we're slowing down. We're losing steam. We're losing steam. This is our second live of today. We're about 2 hours in. No one's in the box. No one's in the box. MAGA request up if you want to debate. My dog wants airtime. Pickles. Say hi to the real Mrs. Pickles chat. How's my girlfriend? No girlfriend anymore, chat. No girlfriend. We are lone rangers. We are a lone wolf. We're a two-man wolf pack. You're not single, you have chat. Yeah. My co-host was flirting with me. My co-host does not. She does not do men. How old is Pickles? She is 12. Would you like to join my marriage? Zira, I'm in. I don't want to debate for Trump or this administration. That should scare them. Spencer, are you moving? Are you moving? Are you moving away from Trump? I bet the red puppet is single. Oslo? Damn, Spence.
Good morning.
Hello.
Tell you what, you move over here, you get settled, we'll turn this couple into a throuple.
Oh,
How does
dang.
that sound?
Oh, dang. Do you have an extra large bed?
I have a California king, I think you call them over there. So you know what? We're ready to rock.
Someone says just for the accent, I say yes.
Of course, you two will be on the couch. I'll be in the California king.
Jaime just upgraded to 12 months of deluxe. Jaime, beautiful human.
Just for the accent. So yes, Hannah, I'll make room for you two.
Perfect.
Honestly, no. I just came up because you look like you needed a morale boost. I'm just being goofy. I'll let you go.
I appreciate you. I'll take all of the words of affirmation right now, chat. I need them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Everybody give him some words of affirmation. He's out here doing the Lord's work. You know, talking to conservatives and Republicans is a hard job. That's why I don't do it. I just ignore most of them. Anyway, bye.
Much love, Zara. I'm just wondering if you think Kamala was in office, things would be better. Yes, easily. Yes. Pickles, you rock. Pickles, you're the best part of my day. Thank you guys. I'm gonna get my Greek ID and passport going. I might get out of here. Look at this little chicken tender. Look at this. October, what's going on, bub? October, come up here.
What's up, man?
How are you doing, bub?
Good. How about you?
I'm all right. What do you been up to, man?
Shit. Living life, man.
You still in California?
Yeah. Been traveling though.
Yeah, for work?
No, I sold my business.
Oh.
So I'm just kind of living like a semi-retired life.
Yeah.
But eventually I'm gonna try to start something else up.
You're gonna come sugar daddy? Come be my sugar daddy for a little bit?
If you let me hold you like how you're holding your dog, then yeah. Give you kisses on the forehead like that?
She needs them. She needs them. I'll take a few.
Dude, your pup grown up so much.
Yeah. You still talk to Lemony at all?
Who?
Lemony?
Shit, I thought he went to prison. I haven't talked to him in a minute.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Oof.
It's been about like almost a year.
Oof. Well,
I don't really play anymore that much. I don't really do anything.
I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it in a while.
That's good for you. It sucks. It's I think I tried like an event and I was just like, nope, no more. It's just boring.
Someone says, "Are you still debating?" Oh my god. What breed is Pickles? She's a miniature schnauzer, corgi mix. I'm not corgi. Miniature schnauzer, Yorkie mix. And sorry. Guys, I think I'm gonna chill down. I think I'm just gonna do sub only for a little bit. We're gonna do sub only. We're gonna wind down for the night. So if y'all want to do friendly time, we can do friendlies up here. Boop. Sub only, guys. If you want to chat, you're gonna have a subscriber badge, like Jaime just got a 12-monther deluxe subscriber badge. You're insane, dude. Appreciate you. Bub only chat.
Who knew this was your calling? This is dope.
Thanks, man.
Knew you had it in you.
No, you didn't.
Damn. Lied like Trump.
The other day said she debated a real man like Andrew Wilson told me can even open his heart. Oh shit.
What do you think about all this shit going on?
There's a lot to look into with the Iran stuff, but I don't know. It's not looking great. Not looking great.
Even with the I just literally just watched the Ted Cruz thing. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He got rage baited.
Tucker Carlson. It looks real nasty too when it's coming from Tucker.
Yeah.
Oof. But
I try not to stick my nose in that. Like out here in Cali, like the ICE thing has been like crazy.
Yeah, I hear.
Like I've seen like 3-4 raids already. I'm like in restaurants. I'm like, what the hell?
That's scary. Apparently, he stopped doing restaurants and farms. So that's nice. ICE was in Ohio today. Woof.
Well, yeah, it's because they noticed that a lot of people were losing money. So it's kind of dumb because I kind of thought about it. I was like, why are they being so selective now? If you're gonna go for it all, you know?
Yeah, like when people are scared to show up to work and farms are getting fucked even more, then yeah. Hello.
It's stupid. Oh well, we have nothing to. We live and we die. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Debbie says Tucker's a paid Russian asset. Yeah, I kind of get that vibe too. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say hi, bro. Just want to say
Yeah,
hi
well,
and see if you're still stupid.
you're stupid. Bet your room smells nasty. I love the grandma glasses, by the way.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks.
All right, man.
I stole them on my date with yours last night. All right, man. I'll catch you
You
later.
did? Yeah. She's still there. All right, Pickles. Love you, man.
Love you back. Bye.
All right.
Guys, no caps in YouTube. It is a litmus test just to make sure you're not a bot. What's up, Caroline?
Hey, Pickles, sounds like you need a dad joke.
Give it to me.
Okay, what did the fish say when he hit the concrete wall?
What?
Damn.
Perfect.
Oh, well, 79 days until my vacay. I can't wait.
Where are you going?
Vancouver, Canada, and then I'm going to hop down to Carmel, California, visit some family.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm one of 15 kids, so I got a lot of family to visit.
Good Lord, do y'all have a football team?
Well, and it's funny because we used to play every Thanksgiving turkey bowl, football game.
You cut out there.
That is a very
Used to do a turkey bowl where we'd split the family in two.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And they fought to the death. And whichever kids made it out alive got to eat Thanksgiving dinner.
Makes me think of Friends.
Yeah. Growing up was cool. There are 9 girls and 6 boys.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. And we lived in a 4-bedroom house, so you know what that meant. Bunk beds.
Wow. Yeah, I
Life
had bunk
is
beds
good
as a
in a big
kid too.
family.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's red and bad for your teeth?
What?
Oh, Lee's raising his hand. Go for it.
Rick?
Yep. Ding, 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 ding.
What's up, Lee? How you doing?
Hey, so I don't know if this is like a topic that like you want to take on, and like if this is a topic that you don't want to jump into, that is perfectly fine. You mentioned assault weapons earlier. I'm not like a super political person, so that's not really like a topic that I would be an expert in actually debating. I'm not a super political person. I used to work in the weapons industry, and I did go to school for it. So if you had any questions about like definitions or anything, I would be happy to have a talk about that.
Oh, cool. I don't know. People, right wingers usually feel like it's even a point at all to try to figure out how to get us to mess up in defining like what types of guns are what. Right. And I don't think it's besides the point. It's like if we were to ever write legislation that were to outlaw or restrict the use of certain types of pew-pews, then obviously those legislatures would probably figure out a better way to describe them than us. But we can look at some of the more higher caliber, higher capacity, etc. pew-pews and say, yeah, those aren't for hunting. And for self-defense, for home defense, you don't necessarily need something like that. Those are more or less something that if a civilian gets a hold of one of those, we'll see more incidents like Uvalde happen where, hundreds of cops are sitting outside of a school for 77 minutes while a guy goes ham on small children.
Right. I think the problem with the right and left debate when it comes to things like firearms is, or honestly when it comes to anything, is that it's a debate not necessarily about solving the problem, but it's just individuals trying to be correct and like playing gotcha games. Like it's not really a beneficial debate, and I don't think that many people debate that topic in good faith, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that every sane person would agree that we need to come up with ways to curb the firearm crime problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, they're like sticklers when it comes to the Constitution, when it says certain things about their pew-pews, but when it comes to things they want to change, they're totally fine with like a president just writing something down on a piece of paper and trying to change it. So I don't believe them at all when they say they care about the Constitution at this point, when Trump is trying to change it with an executive order.
So the thing is, and I think we see this on the right as well as the left, in the extreme cases, I actually believe that most people are more moderate on most things. People want their team to be able to break the rules, but they don't want the other team to be able to break the rules. And I think the hypocrisy in those things, and like you just brought that up, and you're 100% correct in bringing that up. I think that the hypocrisy and people's ability to not see a double standard in things is what kind of creates the atmosphere where those things happen.
Yeah.
Well, you said something interesting about moderate takes on these kinds of issues and common sense reform ideas. I mean, for one thing, plenty of people on the left and in blue states are pew owners, right? And so it's not that they don't think that we should have 2A rights, right? And so that's already kind of a straw man that you see a lot. But it just tells you what kind of a chokehold the NRA and manufacturers must have on our legislators, when there's so many common sense measures that can be taken that I don't think most people would be ideologically opposed to constitutionally, right? So I guess is that the biggest stumbling block, Lee?
I don't think it's necessarily the largest stumbling block. I think that the NRA is really good at two things. I think that they're really good at purchasing politicians, and they're really good at promising people book bags that they never actually give them. If you get their magazine, or if you have an NRA membership, they will swear up and down to everyone that they're going to give you this nice book bag or tote bag or like whatnot, and they never actually send it to you. I am not a NRA member. I was, I was like a decade back, but I'm not a super big fan of them, to be honest.
People saying, why can't you say pew? We are using words that are TikTok friendly. TikTok has different terms of service, and saying certain words gets us flagged. Yeah, people have spent a lot of money ensuring that gun culture is extremely abhorrent on one side of our politics. So there's absolutely almost no room for us to do common sense things. They think that we're just an enemy of all pew-pews. But when someone like Trump says we could take the pew-pews and do due process second, you guys have no problem with it, and it completely bounces off of you. It makes no sense. There's children that die. Far more children die in one school shooting than all migrants have caused in an entire year. And you guys still throw hundreds of billions of dollars at it and don't do a single goddamn thing about the pew-pew problem that is unaliving children.
And having a pew in the home statistically does not make your home safer. It makes you much more likely to be a victim of pew violence.
Yeah.
And a target.
Yeah.
I think that pew education is extremely important, as well as background checks, waiting periods, things like that, because those things are proven to be effective. And the thing that I think that everyone can agree on. And so if I'm having a conversation with somebody that does not want any legislation or regulation at all, I simply ask them, why do you wish to own one? And they say, for safety. And I'm like, well, this legislation is going to make you safer because you're still going to be able to get one as long as you can pass the background checks, as long as you are a law-abiding, non-violent person. And it's going to make it less likely that you're going to have to use it because these kinds of laws and legislation are going to make it much, much more difficult for people who don't follow the law and people who are very, very violent people to obtain QQs, which make it less likely that someone is going to have to use theirs to defend themselves. And then the other thing is, like if you choose to have a QQ in your home, as far as like things that you're going to need to make your life safer or better, you're about 10 times more likely to need a fire extinguisher in your home than you are a QQ.
Yeah.
So sometimes when people say, oh, well, I want to make my home safe, I'm like, great, get better door locks and get some training on how to use a fire extinguisher, because not all fire extinguishers are good for all fires. If it's electrical or grease or something with your stove or things like that, you actually need different fire extinguishers for that. Some fire extinguishers can make certain fires worse. And so if people are just worried about the safety of their home, I say, well, you need to be looking at the most common things that go wrong inside homes. The first would actually be mold. Mold is really, really unhealthy. Second would probably be fire. And then way down the list, probably in like, I don't even think it's in the top 10, would be actual like QQ safety measures for,
Everything you're saying, Lee, makes a lot of sense, but I think I have to agree with one of the first things you said, which is I think when we're engaging in these conversations, it's very often not in good faith, at least on the other side, right? So, and the other question is, do you think it's even worth really trying to engage in this kind of civil discourse with individuals when, again, like the NRA and others have this outsized influence on our legislators? So does our voice even really matter? I think that's that's true of a lot of things. And I just don't know how we even begin to untangle their tentacles and other, corporate lobbyists too.
So, yes, it is. If I understood your question correctly, it's something that's going to take a whole lot of time, because we have to learn to, or we have to change people's minds on like an individual basis, but we can't be abrasive when we do it. We have to approach people in good faith. And some people won't have a conversation in good faith. They just want to be right. They just want to be like, I don't, whatever talking point they're doing that day.
Pickles wouldn't know anything about this, by the way. Engaging in good faith, sticking out an olive branch and having his hand bitten off.
Yeah, and it's really hard to continue to debate in good faith, or not even to debate, but just have a productive conversation when people aren't receptive to the information. So I think that there are some people that we can have meaningful conversations with, and then I think that there are some people that are not really ready to have a meaningful conversation.
Do you think the fear mongering has been a big portion of this? Because I feel like this debate's been going on for like decades upon decades.
I believe that politicians as a whole, that's something that they engage in. I don't necessarily think it's a right or a left thing. I think that politicians as a whole kind of do that. And I think that politicians will use whatever will motivate their voting base, like whatever will get them off the couch and into the voting booth. I think that the vast majority of politicians will say anything to actually get their base to go vote for them.
Very sad.
It is extremely sad.
That's why I'd like to see term limits across the board, and to try and get people with other ideas to be able to come into roles of leadership. I mean, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell and the octogenarians need to be 86 from Congress through the ballot box, and get some of the millennials and the Gen Xers in and get fresh ideas.
86, the octogenarians would be, there you go. Pickles, there's a merch idea for you.
What is it?
86, the octogenarians. Yeah, it's don't.
Okay.
But no, age maximums, honestly, probably not a bad thing to think about.
I would
term limits anyway.
Age max, and I would also go with like term limits for Congress and Senate and things like that. I think that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, we have it for the president. Why do we not have it for Congress?
That's an extremely good point. The other thing is, I think that our political leaders should better reflect the demographic that is in the U.S. So people that are in the different generations, be it like the baby boomers or Gen X or Gen Z or everything else. I think that everyone has a radically different viewpoint on the way that the world works, and they have a lot different views and stances and a lot of different opinions. But when you look at the average age of a politician does not reflect the average age of a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of makes certain politicians a bit out of touch. I think that the vast majority of politicians are doing what they think is right to an extent. Like, they're going to do what's right for them, but they also want to do what's right for their constituents while retaining power. I think that's on the right as well as the left. But I think that people have similar things on what they think is right, but they have different approaches to it. And the reason why people don't have more meaningful conversations is that they're not they're debating rather than having a conversation in good faith, and they just want to be right.
Yeah. It concerns me with people like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who have, in my head, they don't have the mentality or the intelligence, common sense intelligence, to be able to be congresspeople, and yet they're elected in. I just don't understand that.
I would love to have the faith in humanity and politicians that you do, Lee, and maybe I'm just way more cynical, but I don't think that they're, the vast majority of them are really acting out of principle at all. And I think you're saying they want to do right by their constituents. I'm thinking they want to do right by their stakeholders and their corporate donors and overlords most of the time. That's why I think even on the left, right, there is plenty of room for criticism of our politicians who, we have our AOC and our Bernie, but the rest of them are bought and paid for. And I think that's the pragmatic reality. I would love to have more. I have more faith in the average American, right? Although, I don't know, that's taken a hit too, but... And I don't know about the both sides. Yes and no to the both sides-ism, right? But I do think kind of like what, is it Caroline? What Caroline is saying is true as well, that some of the MAGA constituents in particular, I don't think that they're either acting in bad faith or they really do not have the same grasp on our shared reality. that's just call it like I see it. I don't think that it's an equal left-right issue.
I would agree with that. And I agree with pretty much everything that you said. The one thing that I would add to that is people do crazy things out of fear. People when people are afraid, when they have been convinced of, when they've been convinced that their very way of life is under attack, when they are convinced that other people having rights will somehow take away their rights, when people are legitimately scared and they're acting as a group. Like, people don't get smarter when they get in crowds. People get significantly less intelligent when they get in groups of people. And so I think that people get in these echo chambers, and I think that they bounce bad ideas and bounce fear off of each other, and they focus on the things that divide them rather than focusing on the things that they have in common with people. And I think that people who are radicalized using fear as a vehicle, I think that they are capable of very scary things. I do have empathy for them. I don't feel as though they are legitimately evil people. I feel that they are people who are afraid and who are misled.
I mean, I don't. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I also think ego has a lot to do with this. I mean, you look at Trump, that's all he feeds off of is ego. Feed my ego, I'm the best. And I mean, especially with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Ted Cruz, and it's all ego, all power, all me. And that's what frustrates me a lot.
Yeah, and it's very scary to see the climate, the way that it is, as far as seeing the current state of political affairs. And here's the thing: I could be completely wrong, and I don't look for things that I'm right in. I don't look for confirmation bias. I look for things that I'm wrong in, because if I'm wrong, then I want to be corrected, because I want to have a true view of what's going on. And I think that ego is a massive driver for a lot of what we're seeing. I think ego and fear are probably the two biggest drivers for how we got to where we got.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been very interesting. Leah, it's great to talk to you, but I got an early morning tomorrow, so I'll say goodnight.
Good night. Catch you tomorrow.
Yep.
I actually have to go ahead and hop off here too. Thank you so much for having me on, sir. And I will maybe talk to you later on.
Anytime.
Hey,
thanks. Take it easy, dude.
And you can drop me anytime, and I'm not gonna take offense. But I don't know. That was interesting what he was talking about. And I was just seeing there's another creator that was, talking about how do we handle the ones who've been unapologetically MAGA, that we just want to be like, we freaking told you. Trump freaking told you. Everyone freaking told you. But if they are showing like some rare glimmers of insight and regret, I do think, and I don't think I have to preach to you about this, Pickles, because it's kind of what you do day in and day out, and it's amazing, is especially for those of us who are coming from privilege and we have the spoons and the headspace to talk to these people. I do think that there is some duty for us to, as mad as we might be, regulate our emotions and get in there and talk to these people. Because there's a little bit of deprogramming that's starting to happen.
Yeah, I used to say this all the time, but I see most of these people, like even the angry belligerents, shit talking ones on YouTube. I see these people as victims. So I treat them with the same, I don't know, patience and, I don't know, almost urgency that somebody who's like sick or like with cancer, you know, like who may be like mad at the fact that you know, a nurse is poking and prodding them or trying to move them to a different bed. Like I literally imagine these people. Um, I I just feel bad for them. I legit feel bad for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think we ever have to lose empathy, right? I don't think we ever have to. I mean, I can understand. I can understand the rage. I really can, especially from those who are most directly impacted day to day by these policies that these people have loudly and again unapologetically endorsed. Some of them, a lot of them are just toddlers, though, and then it's kind of fun to just, you know, I like your Miss Rachel idea. Hi, hello. Can you say MAGA? Because that's what they need, but it's just really interesting if you just kind of like, and your approach where you don't match the energy and you do what we call co-regulating, where it's like, deep breaths. Okay, we've got this. You know, then sometimes they're kind of like, oh,
Follow
okay,
the
oh.
bouncing ball. Impeachment hearing.
Oh my good Lord. And if I didn't, you know, have my own kids and work with kids all day long, I wouldn't be able to do it either. And the gentle parenting, like, listen, some people need a smackdown. I get that. I get it. But I think that there are some cracks that I'm starting, and you know, I've said this before, right? This is the thing, is like in 2016, when he was elected against what we thought was against all odds, right? That's when I immediately went, oh shit, we are dealing with, again, some delusion. MAGA has successfully driven a wedge between all of us where we have these entirely separate realities. And I remember when it was like some Russiagate and this and that, it was like, this is going to be it. This will be the nail in the coffin. And it just never fucking was. I think, though, this time, without getting my hopes up, that I'm starting to perceive some cracks. And I don't know if you can sense that in just the debates day in and day out. So anyways, I have a little child, speaking of little kids, banging on the door. So I am going to run now. But thank you and stay well. And I am going to do the mother thing. Like, eat good food.
Anytime. Have a good night.
Okay, thanks. Good night.
Bye. We have a few ops in the box. But I think I'm gonna do a gaming night. I haven't done a gaming night in a while. Oh, I think I'm gonna do a gaming night. And I don't know. I'm stuck between the idea of doing Final Fantasy, Dune Awakening, The Last of Us, or Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You know how I feel. I know, Nikolai. I know. Last of Us? Y'all are saying Last of Us? I haven't even started it. So it would be a fresh new game on Last of Us 2, remastered, which just came out, I think January. Dad joke, what does Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh have in common? I'm not sure. Russiagate found to be false. Biden laptop found to be true. Okay, Justin, here's a quiz. How many indictments came out of the Mueller report? The answer's 37. How many indictments came out of the Biden laptop? 0. Oops. Okay. Yeah, let's play The Last of Us. Let's play The Last of Us. That sounds like a good idea. What was Spirited Away about? It was literally a fucking fever dream. Let's do it. Let's do it. I will see you guys in just a little bit. I'm going to switch over to my alt account. Actually, I'm going to jump into chat real quick with my alt account. If you guys want to follow my alt account, that's the one that's going to be live playing games. If you guys want to do that, I will be playing games on this account right here. Shit. Why? I did not mean to do that. Who just kicked me? Charles, you just followed me like 5 seconds ago. I don't know why you're in my box. There we go. Yeah, right here. Guys, follow this account if you guys want to... if you guys want to watch me play some video games. It's just going to be chill video games, chugging carbonated water, and eating almonds, and possibly vibing to some music. We'll be vibing to some music. So I will see y'all in just a little bit. I saw that. Yeah, flavored water. They waft like a little bit of I think grape over the water a little bit. I will see you guys in just a little bit. Chat, love you. See you soon. Goodbye.